We start with overnight news. A motorcycle rider is dead after a crash in southwest Albuquerque. Police say he was going east on Tower on the shoulder on the south side of the road when he hit a curb between Bridge and Old Coors. The rider was thrown from the bike, badly hurt his head, and died at the hospital. Police say he was not wearing a helmet. They have not said who he was just yet. Well, at 5:01, we may have to wait until the end of this week to see if a woman at UNM Hospital is infected with Ebola.
What we do know for sure this morning is that the woman's blood work has been sent to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta for testing. The 30-year-old woman is from Bernalillo County. Her name is not being released because of privacy issues. She's being treated for flu-like symptoms that developed after returning from Sierra Leone, where an Ebola outbreak has killed more than 1,000 people. Her symptoms include a headache, fevers, and a sore throat. She's in a private room right now with infectious disease protocols. The United Nations Health Agency says Ebola-infected countries should screen all passengers leaving international airports, seaports, and major ground crossings. The World Health Organization says all countries, even those unaffected by the outbreak in West Africa, need to strengthen their ability to detect and immediately contain new cases. So far, more than 1,100 people have died. 2,000 have gotten sick in Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Nigeria. In some other news this morning, hackers have stolen personal data from 4.5 million hospital patients in the U.S., including right here in New Mexico. Community Health Systems, which operates 6 hospitals in New Mexico, were hit by Chinese hackers. More than 200 hospitals in 29 states were targeted between April and June. This impacts patients who were treated within the hospital chain over the last 5 years. The hospital group told the feds the hackers were able to access patient names, addresses, birth dates, phone numbers, and social security numbers.
It is just days before the UNM women's soccer team's first game, and they are already in a lot of trouble. Last night, UNM announced it's investigating the team for hazing for what may have happened last weekend. Students we talk with say the women's soccer team is known for their annual initiation parties for freshman players, and that this year's party was Sunday night.
I think it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's kind of weird that somebody found out about it. I mean, I don't know who would have really found out that it was even happening, because I feel like it would be something that the soccer team, if it was happening, would try and keep secret and not get it out there in the public.
Right here, you're looking at a photo of this year's team, but we should make it clear that UNM has not mentioned any specific players who are being investigated. UNM Athletics says that it has someone outside the athletic department investigating and interviewing players about what happened. The women's soccer team has a media day set for tomorrow. UNM Athletics says that's when it'll release any updates to the investigation. The UNM women's soccer team takes the field this Friday at Texas Tech. And UNM football player Jamal Price will be back on the field. Head coach Bob Davie just reinstated Price. Price and another UNM student are accused of breaking into Price's ex-girlfriend's apartment near Yale and Central last month. He told police he was trying to get his stuff back. The woman told police Price's friend punched her and Price pushed her down. Coach Davie says Price now accepts responsibility for what happened.
Hopefully, Jamal has learned a valuable lesson. I mean, he has taken full accountability for what happened.
Price here has been accepted into the Bernalillo County District Attorney's pre-prosecution probation program. That'll go for 2 years, and he will not get charged in the case.
A hearing continues this morning for Amy Herrera. She is the wife of an Air Force major once accused in his death in Albuquerque 2 years ago. Major Mark Herrera died from a gunshot to the head in July of 2012. The state says Herrera should be charged with murder. Her lawyers say there was no crime and says that the major was acting erratic and brought about his own death that night. Yesterday, one of the first APD officers who arrived at the scene testified. Officer David Kisser says when he questioned Amy Herrera that night, she told him she was throwing a party with her husband for their exchange student. She said both were drinking and at some point, Mark got out his gun and threatened a student. Amy claims she tried to talk her husband down, but an argument ensued, and that's where Amy claims her husband put the gun in his own mouth, wrapped her hand around his, and pulled the trigger. The question now is, was that murder? We'll let you know what happens at this morning's hearing.
Well, peaceful protests spiraled into another night of confrontations right here in Ferguson, Missouri. Police in riot gear fired tear gas on a crowd that was mostly full of people from out of town.
I am not going to let the criminals that have come out here from across this country or live in this community define this neighborhood and define what we're going to do to make it right.
National Guard soldiers are protecting a police staging area. This all happening more than a week after a white police officer, Darren Wilson, shot and killed an unarmed black teenager, Michael Brown. An independent autopsy done by Brown's family shows he was shot 6 times, including twice in the head. Witnesses say Brown had his arms up and was surrendering when he was shot, but a forensic expert who worked on the autopsy says the autopsy cannot prove or disprove that. A grand jury may begin hearing testimony from the witnesses tomorrow. And U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder is set to head to Ferguson tomorrow as the Justice Department performs a 3rd autopsy on Brown's body. Liz?
A website in Albuquerque has set up an exchange system, basically allowing you to offer services to others and get some in return. It's called ABQ Hours, and it takes money out of the mix.
Everybody has something to offer. Everybody has time. Not everybody has money.
ABQ Hours operates online. People sign up to offer and provide services, everything like bike repair, gardening, guitar lessons, and there is no money involved.
There are a lot of needs that we can meet without throwing who's got enough money to do this or that into the equation.
New members must attend an orientation where safety is addressed. To become a member, your references must check out. And there is a rating system, so when you're involved in an exchange, a reputation is built based upon how someone rates you. The mission here? To inspire the community and build relationships.